Hi there, my name is Lindsay, and I'm a senior solution engineer on the functional team here at Parasoft. In today's video, I'd like to explore the end-to-end test automation capabilities of SOAtest with you. With that said, let's go ahead and jump over to the SOAtest IDE where I've already created a placeholder TST file. And in this scenario, I would like to use an API, JMS service, and a database to decrease an item's inventory by one. To help me even further, I've created a brand new environment. This stores all of my configuration settings for my test cases, things like my JMS connection settings, database driver URL, and my service definition are all located in here. This by storing my environment variables here, if anything were to change, I can make the change in this environment, and that would percolate throughout all my test cases. Additionally, I can create additional environments to run my test scenarios in different environments as well. With that said, let's go ahead and start adding test cases and chaining them together. First thing I want to do is consume that service definition. In this case, it's an OpenAPI Swagger definition. And the tool consumed that and created test cases for every operation that was defined in that service definition. From there, I just need to pick and choose which ones I would like to use, move them around, add data to them, pretty much use them as building blocks to build business logic API tests. For this scenario, I'm going to use the get item by name and get item by ID. And all I'm doing was copy and paste them up here. And now I'm going to give them a meaningful name. So this one is a REST request where we're getting an item by name, and I want to look up a 4-person tent. If I run that test and take a peek at the traffic on my request, you can see I'm making a request for a 4-person tent. And on the response, I'm getting back a JSON payload. There does exist a 4-person tent in the system, and it has a unique ID of 8 and an in-stock quantity of 5. Those are going to be important as I chain the test cases together. Well, now I have my API operations in place. I just need to add 2 more test cases, a database tool to test my database, and one more, a plain messaging client, which I will configure to interact with my JMS service. From here, I just need to move them around in the order I would like them to execute, and then I need to start filling out all of the important information like the request message and anything for the transport. In this JMS test, I would need to fill out all of the JMS connection settings as well as my queue and topic. And the database, I would have to do my database driver URL as well as my SQL query. To speed things up, I have already done this and renamed everything so it's more meaningful. So what we'll be doing is making a REST request to get the item by name, decreasing that JMS that item's stock by 1 using the JMS service, making one more API call to get the items by ID, and then checking the database to see if the quantities have changed. In order to interact with each other, we need to add some more tools that are included, and I'm going to do this without any coding. First thing I'd like to do is add a data bank. Data banks are attached to either the request or the response, and you can store information from those as variables to be used with downstream tests. So I'm going to add a JSON data bank to both API calls, and this first one I want to grab the ID of the item that I requested. And if I wanted to, I can actually evaluate it. There's that 8 that we saw in that original request, and I'm gonna give us a get items ID. From there, I can use that variable item ID in my other requests. So here's my updated JMS request, which has all of those connection settings filled out, referencing my environment. The request itself is decreasing this item's quantity by 1, and right now is hard coded to 8. But because I am grabbing the item's ID in that data bank, I can parameterize it to that item ID. Same thing with my database setting. I have filled that all out with my environment variables, and the SQL request, which is hard coded to 8, I can now use that item ID variable here as well. Final thing here is after I've decreased the stock with the JMS service, I can use this REST request to get the updated stock that is available. In this case, it looks like we have 3 left after running the test a few times, and I can name this current stock. What I would use that for is to validate that the final stock in my database is also the same from there. And I need to chain one more tool to do that. In this case, I would add an assertor. We can do an assertors for every tool, every kind of message form that we have, or we could use diff tools as well. And in this case, run the database to populate the tree. And now I have options. If I wanted to, I can add a numeric assertion, value assertion, check for dates, build out compound assertions if I wanted to. In this scenario, I'm just going to stick to a numeric assertion. I'm going to select the stock that the database is reporting back, and I want to parameterize it to that current stock that I'm grabbing in this JSON databank. The final thing I would do here is clean it up and execute it to verify everything is working correctly. And that's exactly what I did. I gave everything meaningful names, identifying what variables I'm grabbing, and finally checking that database has that final stock. And if we want to run it right now, we have 0. I'm going to reset it really quick. And then I'm going to run it a few times. We have 4 stock there. Keep running it. It goes down to 3. Everything's looking good. And now I have an end-to-end scenario that's repeatable in an automated fashion. So hope you enjoyed today's video on end-to-end test automation using Parasoft SOAtest. My name's Lindsay, and if you'd like more information, please go to parasoft.com. We look forward to hearing from you.